Okay.
Okay.
Hello, Uncle Murray.
Hello, how are you?
Good. How are you today?
I'm fine.
Great. Thank you for doing this. This recording will be kept at the Veterans History Project and the Sam Proctor Oral History Project here at the University of Florida.
I got a lot to say.
Oh, I'm glad.
Some of these questions.
So I'll ask you the questions. You answer it any way you want. You can continue to elaborate or add or whatever, any way you want. There's no right or wrong. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay. My name is Helene Zolkower Rhine, and this is my uncle, Murray Zolkower. Could you please tell me your name? Where you
Actually, my name is Maurice Zolkower, but
Yes.
I've been called Murray for the last 85 years, you know, so anyway.
And where do you live?
I live here in Meese Manor, what they call a retirement community, and I'm very happy here. And that's, you know, day by day, I'm going to be 99. I am 99, and I'm going to be 106 months. I can't believe that.
Yeah. So what is your birthday?
February 6, 1921.
Okay, very good. Well, today we're going to talk a little bit about the World War II era and what part you played. So my first question is, what was it like growing up in Manhattan?
It was great. It was great. My father lived in this building on 329 East 56th Street for my mother and me and my brother and sister for 22 years. It was a nice building. It was not a thing that you had down in Delancey Street. Beautiful place. And I went to PS 59 on 57th Street between 3rd and Lexington Avenue for 7 years. I skipped the 7th grade because my teacher liked me and she said I was a good student, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I had a lot of friends in the street, neighbors across the street. It was just a good growing up. And then that's about it, you know. I went to 7 years to PS 59, and then I went to the premier high school in New York City, the Stuyvesant High, which I graduated in 1938. And I wanted to be a pharmacist. I knew I was going to do it. So I just went into the Columbia University College of Pharmacy on 68th Street in Manhattan, went in there and said, I want to matriculate here. I graduated from Stuyvesant, and I had a bunch of credentials. And they said, oh, Stuyvesant, you're right in here. So I went there, and I started to do my schooling to become a pharmacist. That's about it.
Okay, so you mentioned that you graduated high school in 1938.
The class of 38.
When did your family start worrying about, or you start worrying about Hitler?
Well, you know, in New York, they had a German-American Bund, and we always heard about that, and et cetera, et cetera. But I didn't know about Hitler for quite a while. Anyway, I know that my mother's father and mother were murdered by the Nazis. I knew that. And that was what I know about Germany and Hitler. But I heard about it later, and you can believe it.
Yes, of course.
Right.
How did the Depression affect your family?
The depression didn't affect us not much because my father, Ben Zolkower, had a little business on 96th Street and 2nd Avenue, Manhattan, new and used furniture. And he had told me that he paid everything for cash. He didn't owe any money, and the depression didn't bother us at all. That's all I can tell you. We never had any problem.
Right. Good. All right. How did you hear about Pearl Harbor?
Oh, I don't know. I tell you, I got to think about this. It was 85 years ago, I think. I was sitting in Rudley's little restaurant. There was like a restaurant, and I was having a cup of coffee and an English muffin. I remember that. And somebody put on the radio, and this was about 10 o'clock in the morning on 67th Street and 6th Avenue. I remember that. And I heard about the attack on Pearl Harbor. That's when I heard that.
So how did you end up going into the Army?
My Army experience was very checkered. When I was in the College of Pharmacy, and the first year was tough, but I got through that. And we had a gentleman in 1939 came over to speak to us about joining the National Guard. I said, well, what for? He says, hey, I forgot what it was, $12 or $18 a month. You go twice a month. And I said, that's a good idea. So I enlisted in the National Guard. And I did that, and all of a sudden it was federalized. I had to get out of college and go into the regular Army for 1 year. And I was in the, you can't believe it. I was a pharmacy student. They put me in the infantry. They didn't ask me. They just said, you're in the infantry. I was in B Company, 114th Regiment, 44th Division for 1 year in Camp Dix. I think now they call it Fort Dix. I was there for a year. In 6 months, they promoted me to corporal because this was a regular Army unit, and there was guys that were privates for 6, 7 years. They didn't know how to read or write even. So I was a non-com, and I had a pretty good time, and I was discharged after 1 year. I'd say that's my answer there.
Well, when did you ship out to Europe? So how did that all happen?
Oh, well, wait a minute. After Pearl Harbor, I felt that I would be called back into the service, but I wasn't. In 1943, after I had done, I think, 2 years in pharmacy college, maybe 2.5 years, I was called back into the military. And I didn't want to go into the infantry. So I was in camp, what the heck was it, somewhere out in Long Island, where you usually stay 3-4 weeks before they ship you out. I was there 3 months because I didn't want to go back in the infantry. And I'm fighting. I called my mother, and she called the guy who was in charge of the Democratic Party. I finally got sent to Camp Berkeley, Texas, Medical Division, and I was a medic. And I was training in the medics, back and forth. And then they said to me, you're a pharmacy student. There's not much to do in the Army with pharmacies. He says, we're going to send you to Fitzsimmons General Hospital in Denver, Colorado, and you'll be trained for listen to this, a dental technician. I says, what are you, crazy? I said, well, that's the way it is in the Army. So I took a course at the hospital for, I think it was about 2 or 3 months. And I was trained as a dental technician, a chairside assistant, in a clinic and all that stuff. Okay, that was right. And I was doing pretty good. And then all of a sudden, they said, Zolkower, it's time for you to be shipped to Europe. I says, what? What? It was 1943, I think. So I went on the Queen Elizabeth with about 10,000 other guys, and we shipped across the Atlantic, and we landed in the Frith of Clyde in Scotland. In Scotland. I was in Scotland. They put me on a train and took me to England, to a town known as Bath. It's very popular town, Bath, and Devizes. Over there, we were billeted in private homes, and I was there for a while, and then I got, being a dental technician, I got transferred to the 7th Convalescent Hospital, which was in somewhere in England there, not too far from the what do you call it, when he shipped out to France. Anyway, I was with the 7th Convalescent Hospital, which is a hospital for all wounded and hurt GIs that are back to service. In other words, they were taken care of, and they got better, and they've been back to their unit. I was there for a while, and then we got closer to when they shipped us out to France. And that was in 1944 already. And I said, I don't want to go in D-Day. What do they want from me, right? I'm nothing. Anyway, I was waiting with my guys from my hospital. We had a group of tents with big red crosses on them, and that's what they shipped out with us. 6 weeks after D-Day, I went on a ship, I remember, called the New Amsterdam, and it went all the way up to Omaha Beach. I had to go over the side on a rope ladder into a landing barge, and I went on the beach at Omaha Beach, and that's how I got to France. So I got there with my unit, and we pushed the hell out of a lot of trouble. They were going to push the Germans back to St. Lo. I don't know if you know about the history of that stuff.
No.
But it did. But my unit, they put up their big tents, and they had a dental clinic, and I was a chairside assistant, and I did that, and that was the daily thing, you know. I never had a gun. I never had a pistol. I had a little unit. It said the Red Cross, Geneva Conference, et cetera, don't shoot him, you know, and stuff like that. That's all I had.
That's good.
And, that was it. And I was there about before, when the Allies pushed the Germans out of St. Lo, we went further into France, and my unit got into a city, was bombed out and everything, called Étampes, 50 miles from, where the hell was it? 50 miles. This was in August, and Paris was liberated. It was 50 miles from Paris. The German left us a beautiful, big hospital, 7th Convalescent Hospital we had there. And they had a 5-story apartment building where we were billeted. We didn't have to live in tents or anything. We had a regular apartment, It was in Rue 21 Rue Magne. I remember that distinctly. And he'd have you get.
So did you, were you involved at all of freeing any of the people out of the concentration camp?
Oh yeah, I didn't get to that yet. I was.
Oh, okay, take your time.
That was later on.
Oh, okay,
Talk
keep
about
going.
fighting. What is it? Can you talk about fighting the?
Fighting civilians, the enemy.
First of all, I didn't fight the enemy. I was a medic. I was doing medical work. You know.
That was good.
And I told you nothing like that. Anyway, I was in ETOM, and I was doing the medical, what they call chairside assistant in the clinic. And then I get a call. As Zolkower, you're being transferred. I says, where, what? He says, you don't need no more training for a chairside assistant. You're going to be a medic. I said, okay, where am I going? 92nd Mechanized Cavalry, a medic with a red cross on my helmet. What did I do? I was on a half track. I don't know if you know what a half track is. It's a vehicle that's got two wheels in the front but half tracks in the back. I was there with 6 riflemen sitting down and one soldier standing in the front with a 50 caliber machine gun. And what were they doing? They were looking for trouble, going driving around looking for Germans, you know. I did that for a while. Let's see, what were we involving freedom? Yeah, that's a different story. I didn't do that for a while. I did that for a while, a couple of months, and then in Zolkower, you're being transferred again. You see, now, I was a corporal in the infantry, right? I wanted to be a corporal in the medic. They said, no, an infantry corporal is not like a corporal in the what do you call it?
Infantry.
In the medics, you know. I fought for them for 2 years to try and get my corporal stripes back. I couldn't do that. And I didn't care anyway, because when I was in the States, I got $21 a month. But when I was overseas, I got $54 a month. I didn't care. That was a lot of money. So anyway, I was doing that with the, what do you call it?
The medic.
No, with the.
With the mechanized whatever.
Yeah,
mechanical cavalry.
For a while, and then a while again, I said, Zolkower, you're being transferred again. I said, what? Oh, they says, this time, this is a real McCoy. C Company, 120th Medical Battalion, 45th Infantry Division, the Thunderbirds. Oh, the Thunderbirds, they were fighting the island. I was in the clearing company, like they have now, where they look at people that come in and see are they badly wounded, if they can take care of them. That was the clearing company did that. If they couldn't take care of them, they sent them to the field hospital. And then they said, Zolkower, you were a dental technician, right? Yes, sir. Well, then I'm going to put you in the maxillofacial team. In the, what do you call it? In the battalion, in V company, a C company. I says, what's that? A dental officer, a medical officer, and 3 technicians. All the wounded that came in that were wounded medical in their maxillofacial team, huh?
Yeah.
They took care of. Couldn't take care of many of them. They bled out. It was very bad. It was just very bad. I could have been better off in the infantry. And that's I should go for this one here, the question involving freeing prisoners.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what happened. I was in many skirmishes with my battalion and my company. We fought up the Battle of Nuremberg, and near the end of the war, the Battle of Munich. Way. So I was we were billeted in a SS barracks. It was like a 5-star hotel. Those guys were marble. It was beautiful. I'm telling you, can't believe it was beautiful. So it says that was. I'm not. Let's say that was. Let's see. That was before May. April 29th. My company, my headquarters gets a call from the Corps headquarters that the 45th Infantry Division will go to Dachau and liberate that concentration camp. That was April 29th, 30th. Okay, that's good, right? So they say, hey, Zolkower, you got to go with them to the concentration. I says, why? Oh, yeah, you see, we're going to have a company of infantrymen, 125 riflemen, and we're going to have 3 medics, and you're going to be one of them. Okay, I says, I don't want to go, but you got to go. So I went. So instead of going, it was, we were right near Dachau. It was right near Munich. So instead of going through the main gate, we went by the railroad. So we go by the railroad, and then we start going and toward the camp, and we look in the railroad cars all full of dead people. It was the worst thing I ever saw in my life. Okay, we get to the gate. They start shooting at the guys. It was a half-hour battle. Well, anyway, I got pictures, by the way. I can show you of the guards. The women didn't want to raise their hands, the women guards. They're the worst of the men, worst. So anyway, the company commander, they were having this half-hour battle. He called the headquarters. He said, send over a 50 caliber machine gun. They killed all the guards. And that was what I did over there. I got in, I saw those poor guys. I just can't explain it. It was terrible. Dead people all over the place. It was wonderful. We couldn't do much for them. They wanted cigarettes. I didn't have any cigarettes. I don't smoke, so. And that was near the end of the war, because this was April 30th and the war was over May 8th. So I said, finally coming home. No, not you, Zolkower. You're going to go in the Army of Occupation. I said, what do you want from me? I'm nothing. Oh, yeah, we're going to put a clinic out in the woods for the German, what do you call it?
Prisoners?
German farmers, in case they got pain or they hurt themselves. There's a clinic we had a green light, and you're supposed to take care of them. I said, take care of those Nazis? I don't do that. You do it. I was there 2 months. I don't think I gave anybody anything but APC tablets. We call them aspirin, phenacetin, and caffeine. They go, I said, you Nazi? Oh, I ain't kind Nazi, yeah? Here's some pills, go ahead. Anyway, after I was ready for 2 months, and I get a call again. Zolkower, you come back to the barracks, pack your stuff, you're going to go home. Oh, thank you. So they put me on a train in Ulm, Germany, and I drove. The train took me all the way to Cherbourg, France to get the ship. I looked at the ship and he says, what kind of ship looks like a rowboat? It was a Kaiser ship, a 10-ton crate. You know, the ship he used to build one every 6 days. Anyway, I got on the ship. I was in a camp. It was Camp Lucky Strike. I was there 10 days, by the way, before I got on the ship. All day long, for 10 days, they played, I got to go on to take a sentimental journey. They were playing that for 10 days every day. Gonna take a journey. I finally got on the ship. It took that little ship 10 days to go from Cherbourg to New York City. And that was the end of the war. I had no trouble readjusting to civilian life. I mean, after all, I was home for about, 6 weeks, a month and a half, and I got married to my darling Lillian. And I started going back to school, you know. And
You have the GI Bill? Did you have the GI Bill?
Of course. I was very good. I was married. I had the GI, everything free, plus $90 a month for married couples.
Nice.
So I graduated in 1948. And let's see, yeah, I didn't have no trouble to adjust to civilian life. As the years passed by, did you vision and yeah, I did. I guess I did understand about the war change. It was, everything was good, you know, everybody was making money, no more depression and all that. It was great, it was great. And being a pharmacist, I was making a good salary, no problem. I bought a beautiful house, me and Lillian, in 1950, $14,999. Beautiful house, brick house on a corner. It was nice. And when I got out of the service, I went with all the guys I knew, most of them from Brooklyn, went to Brooklyn and joined up with the Jewish war veterans. I've been a member since 1949. Still a member, still pay my dues. Did you ever go back to Europe after the war? And I did, we did, Lily and I. She didn't want to go to Germany, but I was part of that deal. So we just went through Mannheim or something fast and got out of Germany. It was terrible. I didn't like it, but that's over. I went anyway. After 75 years, do you have any more thoughts of your experience? Oh, I think about my experience all the time. I mean, after all, I was with the 45th Infantry Division in most of their skirmishes in Central Europe. And as a medic, I got a battle star on my medal. And I got my unit got a presidential citation. We did a lot of work. It was, when the war was over, we had a calculation of 20, that's the division, 45th Division, 20,000 casualties, 3,500 killed in action, 17,500 wounded. It was a big deal. That's about it, huh?
Yeah, yeah. Anything else you'd like to say?
You got anything you want to ask me?
No? No? That's, you want to tell the story about meeting your brother, my father, over there?
Oh, yes. Now,
That's a good story.
my brother Philip was a real gung ho guy. He got a battlefield promotion from buck sergeant to what do you call it? He was a warrant officer, right there. So he was a warrant officer, and he was the same as a commissioned officer, and he knew every place that I was in during the war. He knew every place that I was. In fact, he came to visit me once when I was in Étampes, and he took me back to Paris in a fancy hotel, and we had a big dinner. And he gave me a bottle of liquor, and he gave me some other stuff. Do this, and then I didn't see him, but he kept in touch with me. And then when I was in Munich, he came to see me again with a big steak and a bottle of wine, and he took good care of me. That was nice guy all the time. That's just,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, thank you. And we will send this recording and it will be kept in the archives.
Where's Francine, by the way?
I don't know.